Just admit your generation started the feminization of black men. That's what was said to me today by, hey, it's a black guy. Now, I'm not sure why he's going off all of a sudden. Well, actually, I believe I know, as I'm getting more understanding of what his issue is. And he has what I almost had, what one of the fellows on my forum had also. Over toxicity coming from the black consciousness movement. Notice I can't say the word consciousness. He has been watching TBA, the Black Authority. That's why he's re-spouting TBA's beliefs. TBA believes that my parents' generation, they're the civil rights generation, by the way. I wasn't civil rights. I was after civil rights. And my generation let them down. And I'm here to say that these fellows are actually wrong because they didn't live that time period. They try to act like they're older and mature, but they're actually young. They're just in their 40s, if not late 30s. So they didn't live that time period. I did. I was there at the end of civil rights, just being born in 59, and I grew up in the 70s. So I know what was going on. As I said in my previous video, black people, we didn't have shit. We also didn't have an internet. We didn't have social media. All we had was a rotary phone and calls from relatives and letters. People wrote letters back then. Well, they killed another black guy down here. That was it. So there were no social groups. There was no, what do they call it, shade Twitter, butter Twitter, or no Twitter, where we all talk and communicate. There was no Photoshop, no memes. It was just black folks trying to fucking survive. So leave you what? By the way, jobs were not easy back then, like they're not today. We were lucky to get a job. If it wasn't for in some parts of that whole quota shit, a lot of us wouldn't have jobs. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, who are younger. You have no idea what it was like during the 70s. Actually 80s, when I was an adult. So the feminization of black men started back in slavery, by the way. If you guys remember the making of a slave, how white folks created this document, How to Make a Slave. Well, you're not aware of it. I think what you guys need to do, or hey, it's a black guy, what you need to do is stop watching just two people and start expanding your knowledge. I put up a video. I gave you the direction where to go in. The Irritated Genie. Now, unfortunately, there are no in the middle black conscious teachers other than Kaba Kimi or something like that. He's the only one that says we got to take the emotion out of it. You're all emotional right now, it's black guy, because you got over toxic from this community, the black consciousness community, and they will make you that way. I can't even listen to all of Cynthia G's shows because she start ranting about black men and black men dating white women. That's her hang up. Whatever. So the people that follow her are subject to whatever screw she got loose in her head. They want information. They want to hear her points of view, and then she throws in the screw up in her head, the screws in her head, and her screw is she has sisters that are married to white men, obviously. But with TBA, his issue was that he was a nerd. He talked about it in his beginning shows. I was there watching until I couldn't watch anymore. And his issue was that he was a nerd and women didn't like him. He talked about himself, his glasses, wearing his glasses. He ranted about it. Actually, he didn't talk about it. He ranted about it. So he was insulting to anyone with any intelligence. And I know there's some stupid people came on the show, some N-words. But these were people that were looking for information, trying to become part of the black consciousness movement. They weren't the ones, The ones that he was trying to insult didn't go to his show. They're too busy smoking a blunt. So you're listening to all these negative people, and you're over toxic right now. Now you're talking all caps. Now let's talk about the feminization of black men. This is a program put out by the dominant society. You need to do your research. Back in the 70s, there was a man named Henry Kissinger. I don't know if you know who he was or is. Google his name, Henry Kissinger. He put out a document saying, because they were looking for ways to control the black community. Because they got us to shut the fuck up during the civil rights thing. They gave us some rights to pacify us, give us a bone. And they got us to shut the fuck up. We were quiet all the way up till, pretty quiet, all the way up to the beating of, what was that guy's? Dennis, the brother, back in the late 90s, they beat the hell out of his brother in L.A. And I don't know why I don't remember his name. Yeah, thank you, Dennis Rodney. Or Rodney King, in other words. Rodney King. Then we rioted. We woke up again. Again, this was before the internet. Pretty much. The internet wasn't popular. Not everybody even had the internet in the late 90s. I just got online with AOL 3.0. There was no Google. You couldn't Google information. You couldn't, there was no Twitter, no Facebook. There was no MySpace. If I can go back even further. There was a group or a site called MySpace. It was pre-Facebook. I don't know if you're aware of that. So the feminization, and I can show you proof of this. It started in slavery with buck busting. The white masters would have a black man raped in front of other black men for the purpose of demasculinization, taking away the black man's masculinity, because we have uber masculinity. And even then, they still couldn't keep it that way because it came back in us. Okay? We are the most, no offense to any white guys watching this, but we are some of the most masculine people, males on the planet. We were. Now we have feminization. They are using our rappers to control our population. Anybody disagree with that? This feminization program is in full effect right now. And going back to Henry Kissinger, he said the way to control the black population, one of the ways would be to turn them into homosexuals. Okay? That's why you've seen black men wearing dresses in the movies. I believe Tariq talks about white folks get on code. Well, I go even higher than that. The people behind white folks make sure white folks are on code. Now we're going into conspiracy theory stuff, but we're not going to go there. Think about it this way. There are rich people on the planet who just happen to have pale skin. They are super mega rich. And if you think they don't have meetings on how they can keep their money and their power, then you're a goddamn fool and you don't really belong here. They do. Lots of black people came out talking about this. One guy even worked for them in the music industry. There's a video on YouTube. I don't recall the name of it, but damn, I don't have that channel anymore. I was going to say I can go back to an old channel and search my history, but you got to do the research yourself. He tells you he's part of the whole movement to control black minds using music. He worked against us like a Judas. They use the music to control our culture. Notice how, let me get another Google browser. And let me get a YouTube browser. Okay. You saw the search string I just put in there. Gays, homosexual rituals in hip hop, satanic Illuminati. Gay rappers expose P. Diddy, black homosexual. Look at all the information you could have been getting on this stuff. Rappers you didn't know were gay. The game speaks on gay rappers and hip hop. Other rappers coming out talking about this. Professor Griff, okay? Look his name up. He was part of a rap group. Did a song called 911 is a Joke. Now, out of that same group came that super coon that has the gold teeth. I refuse to remember this guy's name. White folks trot him out on their TV shows to be a black ass clown. He wears the hat. What's that idiot's name? He was a fucking, or apparently he fucked Sylvester Stallone's ex-wife, that big blonde bitch. And he had a TV show. Flavor Flav, yeah. She knows more than I do. So they use our music. I said this many years ago. I knew this back in the early 90s, late 80s, when they got my kids to try to wear their clothes backwards with the cross colors thing. And I said this before. I told my wife at the time, they are using our music to control us. And they got us to wear our clothes backwards. Look how many idiots wear their pajamas to school. And it backfired. But they don't care about low-class whites. They hate poor whites. It's not about color. It's about control and power to them. They have power over whites. Whites have power over us. So these rich people, they make sure that they stay in power. And as I said, Henry Kissinger said one of the ways to control the black community was to introduce homosexuality. Henry Kissinger, look his name up. You're too young to know what his name. Very, very powerful in politics. Henry Kissinger, Kissinger. So this feminization isn't from my generation, as you stated here. That's happening today. The pussy-ass men was created on your watch. Watch? What watch? Nobody told me I was supposed to watch out for something. What are you talking about? What, my watch? That's what I think TBA says. I always want to ask them, what watch? What the fuck watch you fuckers talking about? Watch? Remember, there was no Twitter back then. The only thing we had was the Black Student Union. There were no black organizations. They destroyed the Black Panthers. They became the gangs. You're not aware of that. They split apart, became the Bloods and the Reds, or the Bloods and the Crips. Red and blue. So what watch are you talking about? What national groups did we have? We had no information. We also had no education. My parents' generation, they had no education. What watch? Nobody told me I was supposed to watch or something. Let's see. I went to high school. I didn't join the Black Student Union. I got out of high school. I went to college, started going to college. I met a girl. I got married. I had kids. I worked at Pacific Bell so I could start my own business. What watch are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Watch. What the fuck are you guys talking about? My watch. Your watch. All my guys I went to high school with, they did the same thing. Nobody told us to watch out for something. And watch, what are you supposed to watch for? Back then. You see how idiot that statement is? How stupid it is? Hey, it's a black guy. Watch, your watch. And you guys didn't stop it. Stop what? There were some gays back then that were black. Not as many as there are today, though. The black community is the last bastion holdout of anti-gay. So stop what? What are we supposed to have stopped? And we were less of the population back then, it looks like. What were we, 10% of the population back then? We were at one time, I think 14%. Now they say we're 12%. I don't know. So what were we supposed to have stopped? We were not together. They made sure of that. Remember, they control everything. The people that control white people. And notice how they got white people to hate black people. See, I'm going higher than just looking at their servants, who they control. That's what a lot of these people refuse. And then they start doing, it's conspiracy shit. No, it's truth. Why would companies like Sony have meetings every year on our race and our music? We at least owned our music back then. Your generation does not even own the music. Your generation is told what to rap about. As I explained to you guys, white people own all the rap companies. Actually, it's more of the workers of those super rich. Because these people, the only companies are very rich. But they're not the top elites. That's who they report to. These people control wars. And you guys will say, oh, just conspiracy. You guys haven't done your research. You haven't done an ounce of research if you guys go to that shit. That's one thing I don't like about TBA is his mind is focused on revenge against people that called him a nerd and angry at black folks. And you picked it up. Hey, it's a black guy. One of the guys on my forum picked the same thing up. And I advised him only watch their videos once a week. I have to limit myself because it makes me toxic. Okay? And you remember there's this thing called segregation? Now, I was super segregated. My dad was in the military. So I grew up around white people and a few blacks. Actually, there were quite a few blacks. White and black. I met my first Mexican in Japan. Didn't know what he was. His dad was in the Air Force. He was the only Mexican that I ever met or saw in the service. It was white and black. So they to diffuse us, they segregated us. And it worked. Everything they've done has worked because they hire scientists to figure this shit out. They hire the biggest brains on the planet to figure this shit out. Let's see, where is my... Right here. You know who Farrakhan is, right? Farrakhan takes it back to scientist. He can make you think you're a homosexual. And he's feminizing the black man. Okay? Who do the scientists work for? They don't work for themselves. They get a paycheck like everybody else. So you guys got to learn to follow the money and follow the power. That's what these other teachers are not doing. They're not following the money or power because they're young. They grew up during a certain time period. I grew up during another time period and witnessed all this stuff. Plus, I was awakened. As I told you, fellas, I woke up in the 9th grade to the movie by Stanley Kubrick, A Clockwork Orange, when the fellow in the movie said, "Sheep thought I." And then I realized what's wrong with people because I've been feeling that way for quite some time. Don't know why I was born awakened or I had the potential to see all that stuff. Maybe because I'm right-brained, I don't know. But I noticed that there's something wrong with folks. You know, they seem like sheep. And I've been ranting about it ever since. You heard me talk about Why do people line up? There's 2 turn lanes. They're all in 1 lane. Like little lemmings. So the feminization of males in the black community is not because of my generation, that we were on some kind of watch. We got out of high school, we went to work to live, to survive. Watch for what? We didn't have information. Can you guys understand that simple fact? We had no information. It wasn't until the Rodney King beating that we rose up. Look what we did. We rose the fuck up. And then we rioted. See, back in the 50s, 60s, it was marching. And now these new people say, marching doesn't do any good. And I disagree with them. From Cynthia Q to TBA, marching doesn't do any good. And I disagree. I am a Malcolm X fan. I wasn't a passive dude. But marching, because of the internet and Twitter and YouTube and all that, the communication, they created the Black Lives Matter movement, and they've got these other movements. Look how white people are marching with us. And look how these gurus, these so-called gurus you guys listen to, who are just people with an opinion, look how they don't even want to acknowledge the white folks coming with black people. Everything is negative. You've got to watch your toxicity level. It happened to me. It started happening to me, in other words. I didn't get toxic. This, especially like this, that hates a black guy. You are toxic right now. Guys didn't stop it. Stop what? The feminization has been occurring over the last, let's see. Well, you guys were alive in 2000. But in 2000, there was no Twitter, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook. Think back when you were a little boy, what the internet was like. You probably just went and looked at porn. In fact, it's porn that caused the growth of the internet. Now the black community is suffering because of you guys. The black community is suffering because we don't know how to work together. And then when we do work together, your so-called leaders condemn them and say, it's not going to work. Black Lives Matter was us trying to work together. Look at the toxic people that got into that movement to cause people think it's a terrorist organization. I don't know what's so hard to some white people about, okay, this movement is about stop killing unarmed black people, please. That's what it's about. It's not about hate the pigs, hate the cops. Yes, those people saw an opportunity to jump in there, a few of them, but that's not the message of the movement. It's about don't kill unarmed black people. How hard is that to understand for you white folks if you're watching this? How hard is that? Someone white, answer me. How hard is that to understand? Why is it so difficult for your group to understand that? Stop killing unarmed black people. If you come back with, well, they're killed, you don't understand. Okay, you're deflecting. Just answer the one simple question. Now the black community is suffering because of you guys. You should have did a better job. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You ever heard that? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We were kept dumbed down. Okay? Stop blaming my generation for your failures. That's why I was angry and still am. Don't give a fuck. Okay. If you do your research, you'll learn that the feminization is happening to your generation, and it's coming from white people, right? You should be able to do enough research to see that fact, correct? I want you to connect the dots with me now. You're blaming my generation for you guys listening to the current rap music, for you guys following these current rap leaders. It's your generation that's now wearing pigtails with barrettes in them because of these rappers. And you want to blame my generation for not stopping it. How were we supposed to stop it? Do you ever notice these guys never have a plan? How it should have went down? And if they say we should have came together, how? Again, the internet. There was no internet. There was no Twitter. Again, I keep saying this to you guys, get this in your heads. We got out of high school, went to work to survive. Now, you're listening to people, TBA. I actually like to listen to PBT, but my disagreement with them, they don't show the fucking face. So all I do is listen to his commentary. I don't listen to TBA anymore. You talk big shit, but you don't show your face. I'm from the old school of manhood. We talk man to man. That's why I'm trying to talk to you like a man. You came at me like a female, talking about you sent me a message and I didn't respond. You lied about that. Why? That was feminine. I'm coming on you on that one. That was feminine. Okay? If you start to self-analyze yourself, you'll see I'm telling you the truth. You'll see the truth in that. You came in like a female, didn't want to talk about it. That's feminine. You are a prime example of what I was talking about. You did a feminine act there. And then you lied about the whole thing. You made it up. That's why I went looking for your messages. There are no messages. You wasted my time thinking there's a fucking message out that I missed. And you're so angry that you can't control your anger. You sound like a woman. That's not masculine. That's why I was angry. You were quiet for 4 weeks. We had a dialogue. It wasn't until that BJXX started talking shit that I banned that you got your feelings hurt. You're a prime example of the toxicity that's coming from TBA. Cynthia G. PBT doesn't put as much into it. He doesn't have that much anger. That's why I still listen to him. I'm glad he started his commentaries. And I support the fella. But I don't like the fact that he's not masculine enough to show his goddamn face. Send a video to him, I don't care. I show my face. I put myself out there. You can't lead from the back. If these guys are trying to be leaders, they're leading from the back of the tribe. That's disrespectful. But they are serving a function. But we have to be aware of the toxicity, the negativity. Now, we live in a negative world. I don't think I may have looked at a newspaper once or twice in my lifetime, by the way. That was my dad's thing. He came home every day, watched the current news, the world news, read his newspaper on the couch. And I'm glad I never got into that. To this day, I've never read a newspaper. Okay? Because I had enough intelligence to realize it's negative. And that we live in a negative world. Now think about it. You're working at a job. You're working for white people, of course. You haven't started your own business yet. You're doing some internet stuff. Congratulations. But you work for white folks. Then you listen to these guys. You're very tall. My little brother found the hard way that they hate tall black people. You make them uncomfortable. You're a giant. You're around other white people. who are smaller than you. They're afraid of you. Now you got all this toxicity. Now you got all this negativity. Don't think that shit's not leaking out at work. And I pray that you detoxify yourself before you get fired. Because you're walking around, look how much anger you're showing at another black man who you actually are learning from. Because I point out the fact that your generation has been pussified. My generation didn't get pussified. You guys got pussified. I told you guys to stop listening to rap music, current rap music. When I'm driving Jovina, she has on FM 102. I flick it to FM 101 in my town, which is, at least it's the, it used to be old school. You know, like my parents' generation, my generation. Now they converted to the original first rap, which is okay, was okay. Except when it gets around Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg promoted smoking weed. Okay? Who trucked the weed into our community? Hey, it's a black guy. Do you know who did that? This happened when I was in high school, by the way. I talked to an older black male when I was at breakfast one day, and he was in Vietnam. And he told me what happened when he came back from Vietnam. Drugs were everywhere. So while the black men were off at war, they funneled drugs into our community for the youth. Which would be my, if I was old enough, it would have been us they were funneled to, but I was in elementary school, going into junior high. And that's when people, in ninth grade, a lot of blacks were smoking it. By the time they got 12th grade, they tried other stuff. Those were the people that I talked to every day. So, are you going to say that it's our fault that our community ran to the drugs? Or are you going to look at whose fault it really is? It's a combination. The people that funneled into us, but we ran to it. Now, we smoked weed because we're black in America. It feels bad. White people don't understand this. It feels bad being black in America when you see us getting shot down by police every day. I'm watching a show called The Clever Man. See, I go outside my boundaries. The Clever Man is from Australia. Now, I actually was going to do a video on this. In this show, they discovered Neanderthals. I finally realized these are Neanderthals. They call them the hairy people. And the hairy people are stronger than everyone's, like 6 times their strength. Even their kids can beat up an adult practically. They've got all this hair. Women have facial hair. They have hair all over their bodies. And it's all about racial discrimination and species discrimination because the 2 stars of the show are these 2 black fellas. They're actually biracial. One has, I don't even know if he's even Australian or Aborigine. I think he's just a dark-skinned actor they put in there. But I believe the older brother, I believe he is actually Aboriginal because he's got that brow ridge. That came through even though he's biracial and dark-skinned. So they're showing species, as I said, discrimination and racial because there's one scene in the last show that I watched where the older brother wears suits and ties. He's working with the corporation. He's one of the, I guess he sold out. He was an activist for the hairy people's rights, and he had a white girlfriend, even though he had a biracial Aboriginal wife, but he wanted the white woman. Typical, like black fellows today. A lot of black people today. Black men, I should say. I'm one of them that went to other races besides our own. Although I did marry a black woman now. My kids are black. Anyways, he went to a bar. He was at a bar. He went to order, and a white man came up, and just like what happens to us, at least my generation, we go to the counter to order, and a white person comes up, they help the white person first. That happened in that video. I urge you guys to watch it, whether you're white or black. It's called The Clever Man. Go find them online and download them. You got to start with season 1. So that's what we experienced during my day. So my ex-wife got tired of it. She started demanding a manager. I was programmed more passivity. My dad was one of those light-skinned, passive types. Usually in the black family, you have one light, one dark. At least back then. I don't know about today, but back then, everybody, their mom would either be light or their father would be light. That I was meeting. Take it back. Not everybody. Most families. I just remembered a guy named Michael Elliott and also Tom Livesey and my best friend at the time. His father was descended from the Black Moors that were in Spain. He was from Spain. He had a Latin last name, but he was descended from that. And his wife was dark-skinned. She died when I was in high school. Anyways, that's what we experienced at that time period. We didn't know of any hangings unless we got a phone call. It was a relative of ours. Because white people did not televise it. Okay? The world news or the big picture news was all about their problems. What white people were experiencing all over the world. Okay? They controlled the media so that we didn't know about these things when they went on. A cop shot an unarmed man. We didn't know about this. Okay? So you said watch. Watch for what? We were kept dumbed down. Can you guys understand that? We were kept dumbed down. It wasn't until the advance of media that we now are up on what white folks are doing to black people. Now, I believe that it's the white folks with the 10% Neanderthal DNA that are the virile racists that can go out and kill someone. They go out and throw babies to crocodiles, call them alligator bait. They'll go out and skin blacks because they did that also. That would take a black woman and rely on all the other pregnant black women with their babies, and cut one of them open and let the fetus drop out. I'm sorry if you're white, you're hearing this. This is true stuff. And then step on the fetus's head. Of course, they didn't kill the black woman. They lost a slave. There's no way to sew her back up. But that psychologically put fear in all the other black women. Now, I don't know how they learned this, but here's something for you guys to put on your hat. When Germany was bombing England, after the war, there were more homosexuals born than ever before because the women were not releasing the right amount of testosterone to the fetus because of fear. Think about what happened to our race when they did stuff like that, or when they whipped the black males in front of all the other slaves, and they would have a black male do it. Think about the effects, the psychological effects that were still in my generation. Now, white people found out that if something bad happened to them, let's say 100 years in the past, it affects their DNA today. They found out that's for them. Now, they have a percentage of Neanderthal DNA that's not human. So think about us, think about blacks who are a little bit more human, if I could put it like that. No offense to you white guys. They found out that Neanderthals were not human. They're not subhuman. They're dead ends of primate species. That's new information for you. And one guy believes that how you guys were created was through those Neanderthals raping and attacking the people that came out of Africa. They were going down into like Yemen and places like that, and that's where blacks had to spread to Yemen. They were starting to spread out in Europe and all that, and they were taking the women. See, I believe that it was we Africans went into Europe according to DNA, and we do know there was interbreeding between the two. And it was those children, and we were, killing them off and, raping their women. And it was those children that you guys are descended from that allowed you to survive that last ice age. But this other fella is saying that it was the other way around. They were raping and taking the women back. And those children are what you guys are descended from. Interesting. And this is getting really long. And I'm going all over the place. But that's the advantage of having a worldly view of knowledge instead of one little narrow focus listening to TBA in his anger. And I used to be on his forum. In fact, I was on one of his shows. I stopped when they put up a cartoon, this immature cartoon on the site, and realized, okay, these guys are still immature. And plus, I had my own forum to run. So, to finish off, your anger is feminine. The way you react and responded was not manly. You came in, as I said to my show, acting like you had sent me a message and it was some kind of emergency. Why did you do that? You've been one of my strongest supporters. Why do that? I'm trying to wake you up and realize that you've grown toxic. I know because I was heading that direction. And I realized, no. Now, my best friend was a white guy. I didn't have any black friends until I was in my 30s. I wasn't a coon. I wasn't Uncle Tom. I just didn't have any black friends. I didn't have any friends, actually. During high school and elementary school, all my friends were white. Well, I always had one friend. The one friend, he would be white. I never had a black friend until 30s, and that was Tall Mr. Negative, the guy that was trying to salt my game. Chose the wrong black friend to have, I guess. Then I made more friends later on. Small Mr. Negative came out of that. And there's negativity in the black community. Okay, both of them had issues with white folks. And I didn't have any issues. I hate to say it, because I made money off of white people. I sold myself to white people and anyone else that wanted my services. See, I approach life like a businessman, like an entrepreneur. Okay, I am a capitalist, I guess, because I'm about the capitalism before I'm about hating people I get my money from. That doesn't make psychological sense. And I wish we had more blacks like that had a capitalist or entrepreneurial mindset. That's one of the things that we need in our community are more entrepreneurs. And that's one of the ways to fight racism. If we all came together, like we had this one movement that came together, and we educated all the blacks, the weed smokers walking down the street, hollering rap music out, head like this. If we got those guys educated, and everybody on, as Tariq says, on code, we could end white racism almost overnight. Because it's a mental attitude that's programmed into us. And we're trying to buck and fight that attitude right now. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because I look at everything from the 10,000 mile out high view. I'm not down there stuck trying to peer over some bushes to see what's going on. I've got a lot more to say about this, but Alan Riggs says to, hey, it's a black guy, stop trying to blame somebody else for your issues. That's what I agree with. This generation, white people created this thing called millennials and snowflakes, and they said that this generation wants everything handed to them. Hey, it's a black guy. You got that in you, although you're kind of old to be a millennial, but you've got that in you. You want everything to be handed to you. Hand you what? We had nothing, as I said. Black people had nothing on average. There were some successful blacks that they put their kids to school. Where did they learn that from? We call it being white. Do what white folks do. Traditional black families, we didn't know. We had no education on ourselves. We had no self-education. We didn't know who we were. We were not taught. Okay? The only people teach us shit back then was Farrakhan's group. And we thought they were weird. We only knew what was programmed into our race. It's the only thing, because the internet, you guys have more information, as I've been trying to point out to you. Blame someone else for issues in life. That is one of the key characteristics of a bitch-ass feminized male. This comes from Alan Riggs. That surprised me. You keep trying to blame Supreme Generation for feminizing ours, but here he is trying to help us be real men. Stop being a sensitive bitch and get over yourself. I'm surprised. Alan has grown. Remember when Alan came in? He had that weird screen name. I don't even remember what it was. It was negative. Something hobo. He was actually calling himself hobo. Now he's going by his name. And he has the same middle name. Well, his first name is my middle name. Same spelling. Don't like what he says, just leave. Don't go behind his back making punk ass pussy videos talking shit. I hate that. I never do that. Only time I've ever done a video is when someone's done a video on me in response. I never made a video about TBA because I was mad because he kept insulting. Like he had one time a black person in business for himself that his ego couldn't handle the fact this guy was intelligent, because he's got to be the smartest person in the room. And he attacked the guy. Anything he said, he would attack and then control the mic. And from that guy, Steve the Dean, I hate going on people's shows now, because he controlled the mic when I went on the show to confront him about what he said about my site. That's weak. That's bitch ass. Let's see. Behind his back, I don't like it when people go behind my back and make punk ass videos. We can have a dialogue, a discussion, like men. Again, his black. You surprised me, man. I never would have thought. I thought you were suffering from bipolarism. So someone pointed out that you're upset over something we talked about 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. Who does that? Who comes into, well, Alpha does that. That Japanese guy. He tried to come and say, hey, let's bury the hatchet, and he went back to his old issue. That was feminine. Because women can't, well, women, they'll try to pass the blame. It's your fault when it's their fault. That was feminine. It's not masculine to pass the blame on others. Okay? Your generation is falling down because you're falling down. And I gave you the clues of why. You listen to the current rap music. Music, because we're musical people. We have melanin in response to the energy of music, right? They understand that. Because remember, after, you're not aware of this shit. I keep thinking everybody has the same knowledge I do. You're not aware of this, but white people found out that we have working pineal glands, as I'm told, after the Vietnam War, because they were cracking the dead bodies open to notice that their pineal glands aren't shriveled up and calcified like the white soldiers. They're full, big pineal glands. Why? They've been studying us ever since. Don't you think they know that music has an effect on us? Go to the mall. Go to the stores. Stores play music. Watch how white people walk through like they're dead. Shopping. Brothers, we dance our way practically through that shit. Go to a restaurant where they're playing music. White folks like this. Well, frankly, I think we should increase the revenue. And black folks, yeah, baby, what's up? We move. We respond to energy, whether it's sunlight energy or music energy. Okay? You got to learn about melanin. We're a melanated group of people, whether you're light-skinned or dark-skinned. So, let me try to get through this. I'm sick of the disrespect, you coward motherfucker. You haven't even noticed throughout all the disrespect Supreme has still tried to reason and solve the issue with you. But you're too blind by rage. Get your life together. Get help. You're fucking sick, you clown. I always knew you were a clown ever since you made that fake page of me. Okay, you guys go into your personal problems. Fishing for Love has a right. For black men, there's a danger in philosophizing about shit and not going out there and getting theirs. See, he works for himself as well. We need more black entrepreneurs to get the financial power on our side. We need more black people in business. The way it was, now I know you know about this. I know you know about the Black Wall Street. That's the town that white people, the only town to be bombed in America. They flew over their planes, dropped their little hand bombs on it, and blew up the whole town. They shot down men, women, and children. All because a woman in the elevator said a black man touched her, which wasn't true. She lied. But notice how certain organizations blew that way overboard and controlled white people to get them to act in a nature that wasn't human. Shooting children down. Shooting women down. I talked about the man who stood at attention, and they shot him down like a dog and robbed him. That's not human behavior. They manipulate these people into acting like non-humans. But those black people, they were wealthy. That's how we get power. He goes, that is why I can only watch so many videos on the black conscious stuff. And I put that on my forum. I said to the fellows there on my forum, only watch a week, once a week. And do not watch the black consciousness, watch the black history. That's my next thing that I forgot to say. Don't watch black consciousness stuff. That's just black people ranting. There's nothing conscious about that shit. You get the same information by going to AOL News. Or having a Twitter account. Shit. Watch black history stuff. Learn who we were. Were. The word is were. Then if you're going to get angry, get mad at ourselves for having lost that knowledge. But we really can't be mad at ourselves because we were taken from Africa. We were kept in an uneducated state. I'm always reminded of the show Little House on the Prairie. I've never seen one episode of it. I've never seen one fucking episode of it. But I know, someone tell me if you watch that show, it was about this white family, right? The guy, Little John or Little Boy or John Boy. John Boy came out of that. Now, don't tell me that they didn't go to a little schoolhouse on a hill and it was all white kids in there. Because back then, they didn't let blacks in school. They didn't educate us. I guess it's during slavery times. I don't know when. I've never seen the show. But I'm always thinking about that. You know, how black people were not educated. And we really can't fault the people back then. Because somehow they still found a way to educate themselves. Frederick Douglass, he was educated. Benjamin Banneker. Benjamin Banneker was self-educated. He's the guy that actually designed the town of Washington, D.C. He's self-educated. He built a clock out of wood. He borrowed a guy's watch, and he built a clock out of wood that was accurate for 50 years. Now, when he was being buried, white people burned his house down with all of his inventions in it, and all of his stuff that he had put on paper, his designs. While he was being buried, they burned it down. Not to cast shade at white folks, but to educate you guys on what you guys were doing. I say go for the black history and limit yourself to one day of black consciousness stuff. Just do a day where you watch a few videos, but don't watch too much because you absorb negativity. And else you end up like, hey, it's a black guy here. And being 58, mature, I see this very childish, hey, it's a black guy. I thought you were cool. I always thought he was a cool guy. He's a cool guy. He comes up, hey, it's a black guy. Remember I used to do that? Hey, it's a black guy. Now I can't do that anymore. because of your response here. And you type in all caps. You're focused on something that has doesn't even matter. By the way, things in the past belong in the past. Learn from it, but let's not repeat it in the future. Don't stay stuck in the past like some of these guys. They're all stuck in the past. You got to face today. Standing up. And you said, that's why I was angry. No, you're still in. And still in. He says, it's still in. You do give a fuck. He says, don't give a fuck. You do give a fuck. Alan Riggs, again, there's something off about he's a black guy. He has something against black women. And this I didn't know. I've only seen one of his videos. I actually went to his channel and looked at some of his videos. And I saw he's trying to build a channel. After, I guess he lost another channel. Fucking with white folks. He lost another channel. And that's something we, as black people, have to learn. Create a channel, if you're going to talk about, black stuff, create another channel so that they don't start trolling your channel and get it blocked. There's a lot of decent white folks that watch me, but there's some that aren't decent. And they do shit like that. They want to help solve their dating issues as well. And they don't like even hearing about black stuff. It makes them not feel good. That white fragility thing. I don't feel good. So I'm going to watch it. There'll be some thumb downs on this video. You're not talking about stuff that can help me. Who cares about the black community? And stop making fun of us. Stop doing that voice. Wow, he says, fuck you. In all caps. His black guy, I always thought you were intelligent. That you respond intelligent. You tell Alan Riggs, fuck you! See, I didn't pay attention to you guys' arguments. What was going on? I don't say fuck you to people. You never see me do that. Like I'm doing with you. I come in with intelligence and reason. And hope that you're intelligent enough to see what I'm talking about. Or if I'm talking to white people, I hope they're intelligent enough to see what I'm talking about. I've been up against white racists, and I've shut them down. Okay? I shut them down. They couldn't say anything else. Now they're still fucking with this African guy that says talking about you vampire. He calls them vampires. And I asked him, what's the vampire thing? That means nothing to them. I shut them down with fact and information. They won't even speak to me anymore on this one particular video. So I come in with intelligence. Dominic Griffin, you surprised me. What the fuck is that?
Spider.
Is a Black Widow?
It's a humongous, ugly ass spider that I've never seen before.
The fuck? The back patio windows open. I left it open all night last night. One thing I will kill are big black spiders. I don't kill daddy long legs. I don't even like to kill bugs. I kill flies. I kill dangerous looking spiders. And I don't like it. I don't like taking a life. Even a fucking insect's life. I have Jovina, moths come in the house when I leave the front door open. And I have her catch them. Or I'll catch them and I'll set them free. I don't like to kill anything.
No, that one is
Because they have a life. I felt bad. I just killed a bug the other day, just by instinct. It was it was a little tiny thing that was on me. Like a little tiny spider. And I smashed it and I realized that thing had a life.
No, that one was huge.
I know, it was huge.
That one had to go.
He had to go. Yeah, my home is not the place for him. Dominic Griffin surprised me. He has all neatly full of his books, he says. Supreme, yeah. When I was like 15, it was like my soul was leading me to the truth. Wow. See, I woke up in 9th grade, and I was just sitting there doing nothing. I just had a point of view that I could see the truth. I could see the truth of things is what woke me up. What I did with that, pretty much nothing. I just saw the truth. He says Trayvon woke him up at 9/11. Interesting. This show has gone on for an hour. I'm sorry that it's so long. I had a lot to say today. Again, it's not my generation's fault. We had no education. We had no national groups that are formed like today. There was nobody to pick up the mantle and lead us, except there was Farrakhan. Then in the 90s, Khalid Muhammad came out. He came out of Farrakhan's group. We didn't know about him. I only discovered Farrakhan on YouTube in the last 8 years or so. Did I say Farrakhan? I meant Khalid Muhammad. Sorry. I meant Khalid Muhammad. There was Khalid Muhammad. And he was more on the militant side. Most blacks in my generation, we didn't want to be militant. We wanted to live. We wanted to raise our kids. We wanted the same thing that basically white Americans wanted. Food on the table, kids in a decent school, and a job to give us money. We didn't have any leaders to lead us through shit. We got to learn to see where this control has came from. Then, hey, it's a black guy. Hopefully you'll be intelligent enough to realize that's the truth, and you'll eventually come back and apologize. Right now, you're toxic to my business, to my channel here, and eventually I'm going to have to actually block you. No offense. You've been a great supporter. I've always thought you were a decent person until now. This kind of blew me up. Like I said, you came to my hangout and did that. I recognize that you're full of toxicity. So I'm still concerned. But when it comes to affecting my business, I can't allow it. Okay? So keep it in your corner. Don't come expecting me to apologize for something I had nothing to do. As you said, watch. I watched my kids grow. My watch. Our watch. I'm supposed to apologize for every black person out there. Do you see how stupid that is? I'm supposed to apologize for every black person that grew up around my time period. And there were successful ones that came out of that. The most successful one I know in my own personal life is Lester Holt from my high school. Another guy that was a little bit younger than me, he's a dentist. That's about it. So, what you're asking for is asinine. Let me bring that back to normal English. What you're asking for is, need a replacement word, stupid. Okay? And you're too intelligent for that. At least I had believed that you were. Show me that I'm not right, or wrong, in other words. I'm out. I've been talking too long. Got to go. My breakfast's been sitting here getting cold. And today is 2 boiled eggs and some pineapple slices. I'm down 4 pounds this week. When I do a diet, I do a diet. I do it. I've always done it. Years ago, I lost 40 pounds. Then I went off. Whenever I talk about diet, I call them idiots. They come out, try to make comments on diet and all this kind of stuff. Remember that I've dieted people down, gave them diets and coached them all the way down to, like a woman, she was a size 16, down to a size 4. She came in first place in 2 different categories in bodybuilding. Okay? It's not like I don't know how. I have no desire. No desire. Oh, but Supreme, it could be better for your health. I'm sick as fuck right now. Better for what, dumbass? For you guys that want to talk that shit. You don't live in my body. You don't know what I'm going through on a daily basis. So keep it to yourself, okay? Just irritates me. Okay, one more thing. To you guys who are in the Black consciousness movement, how many guys even own a gun? I have a shotgun and a .22 rifle. How many guys have a bug out kit? How many of you guys actually study survival so that in case something pops off and white folks suddenly go batshit crazy and start killing, off the entire black population, one night How many guys have a bug out kit to where you can escape and survive? How many guys even know how to fucking survive? I saw this show called Alone. It's about survival. A black guy got out there. He was in the army. And these people see how long they can last by living off the land, surviving. And he lasted a couple of hours. It was a national embarrassment to our race. He talked all this shit about being in the army, and then next you know, he was cowering. We are the people of the earth. The original people of the earth. We should know how to survive, and we've lost all that. So before you talk shit, make sure you can actually back your shit up. Do you own a gun? Some of you guys, when you get the toxic shit, I worry about you. Like, hey, it's a black guy. You know, I would hate to see a gun in his hand because with the level of toxicity he has, he'd go out and kill somebody. That's not good. If you have a gun, you need maturity to handle it. So make sure you can protect yourself and know how to survive. I go out to the wilderness and build a shelter, and I can survive. I've got a bug out kit of food and water. Because when Trump started running, I really started stocking up shit. Now, my food is mostly ramen noodles, because that'll give me some basic starch to survive on. You can't take protein out because protein ain't going to survive. So I thought, okay, what's cheap that I can get that'll give me some calories, and ramen noodles. Okay, so I've got an entire bin of that shit packed, and I've got cases of water in my garage. I can survive. Can you?